Myself Palkumar Pathak. Welcome to this LeetCode series where we solve various types of LeetCode problems level by level, topic by topic, gradually starting from the basic level to the advanced level of problems. Starting with the arrays topic, we are going to start with the first ever basic question called TwoSum. Here we are given two inputs according to the problem statement, an integer array called nums and another integer called target, and our task is to find two integers from the array of which the sum matches to the target and return their indices in the program. So for that we have basically two approaches, starting with the simplest straightforward approach. As according to the problem statement, we'll simply iterate through the array and find, make two pairs of every integer and find if any pair's sum matches to the target. If it matches, we will on the spot return that pair. This is the basic approach. So starting with that approach, here we will start by making a for loop for the outer level, like for iterating for the complete array one by one. So we'll start from the 0th index till the last element of the array. And then we will make an inner loop for making the pair of the first integer, like the ith integer and the jth integer, like for the inner loop, which will make a pair of two integers for checking. So here we will start the inner loop from a +1 of the current index, like I current index integer. We will start the inner loop from one more integer, like a forward integer, which will help us not using duplicate indexes. Again, it will go till the last element itself and same the iteration part. And here, after making pair of two integers, we will use an if condition to check if the pair's sum matches to the target. Here we will use nums of I, which is the outer loop's integer plus the inner loop's integer. If the sum of that pair matches to the target, we simply return the indices of both the elements in the form of an array. So this will be the basic approach, and for safety reasons we will return an empty array too if no pair of elements matches from the array. So let's check if it works or not. So yes, it works. So this is the complete basic approach of the TwoSum problem. Let's just submit that. So this is the complete brute force part of the TwoSum problem, and as you can see, the time complexity of the solution just beats 25% of the solutions. Because we have used nested loops, the time complexity of the solution is being order of n square. So there obviously exists an optimized approach too. So let's think about the second approach, the optimized approach of the solution. So currently what we are doing is we are just manually forming pairs of integers, like using the current integer to form manual pair with each and every other integer and checking if the sum is equal to target or not. And for that we are manually tracking through the complete array. We are traversing to the complete array, making it too much harder for the runtime of the solution. For decreasing that, we can use the solution where we will be having a variable which will be named, for example, required, and in that variable we will be storing the subtracted part of target and the current index number. I'll use an example. For example, we will have a first index, which is 2, and a required variable will be containing the subtracted part of target and the first index number, which will be 2. So 9 minus 2, 7. So required will be having 7, and then we will just check if the required value, which is 7, is present in the array or not. If yes, we'll just return the indices of 2 and 7 both. and if it's not, we will just store it in that particular store as a key and value form. So for that, we can use the data structure which we call HashMap. In HashMap, we can have data stored in the form of key and value pairs form. So according to our problem statement, we can have the number which will be the index's number as key and its own index as its value, key and value. And using that hash map, we will be making this complete solution more optimized. So the second approach is hash map approach. So let's go for that. As you know, for the hash map part, we will be needing first, we will start by declaring the hash map, which is an unordered map. And following the syntax, we will need to mention the data types of the key and value both, which will be according to our statement, both the types will be integer. So we have declared an hash map and we will just name it like new map, and currently it will be empty because we will not store anything from the start. So starting with the for loop to traverse through the complete array only once, because it's an optimized approach, we will only use a single loop. So starting to traverse from the first element itself to the end. And now we will check first. As I mentioned, we will declare a variable called required, which will be containing the subtracted part of target and the current index's number. And then we will check if the hash map is containing the subtracted part of target and the current number or not. So just to mention, for a hash map, for like an unordered map, for checking if a element is present in that map or not, we use an inbuilt method called dot find. So we will use that here too. The current map's name dot find the variable, the required variable. And according to the concept of the map, the unordered map, if any element which we are trying to find in the map, if it's not found, then the dot find method will return map.end, like the last part of the map. So we'll use the if condition to check if the dot find part, this part, does not return map.end, then and then only we will return the indices of both the integers, again in the form of array. The indices will be required, will be the index, the subtracted part will be the required. So we'll just return its value, which will be stored in the new map, which will be its index, as we need to return the index. So we will return that and the I, which will be the current index. And if not found, then we will just store that in the already present map. So we are basically checking using this if condition. We are just checking if the required part is present in the map, then we will just return that part, and if it's not present, then we will be equaling it to the index, which is like the current index which we are traversing through. So we'll just check if this works. Also, I just forgot to return an empty array if nothing is found. So let's see if it works. Okay, so it gives some error. Okay, I'm really sorry. I actually wrote a wrong name for the map that I was using here to check if it ends, and I also passed here a wrong value too while returning, like while storing if it's not present. Let's check if it works now. So yes, it works now. So basically, to mention the errors which were here, I had actually written a wrong name for the map here, and I also had I was actually storing required itself, which instead of which we need to store the current number itself. As I just mentioned, if it's not present in the map, we will store it like the number and its index, key and value pair forms in the map. I was actually storing their required, which was an error. I'm really sorry for that. So let's check if it works now by submitting the code, the solution. It completely works. As you can see, the optimized solution, the HashMap approach, beats 100% of the solutions. And as you just saw, the approach of HashMap is highly optimized, as obviously because HashMap, as its own suggests, the data structure itself is really fast for these type of problems and traversing through array for these type of conditions. So it makes it really faster and the approach becomes too much optimized. So these were the two approaches, the brute force approach and the optimized approach for the TwoSum problem. So this was the complete explanation video for both the approaches for the TwoSum problem. Uh, if you like the content, uh, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you are not connected to the socials, you can just get them using my description of the channel. And thank you very much for being till the end of the video. If you just like the content and want more of these type of content, like LeetCode problems and a series like that, you can just stay in touch with the channel. Thank you very much.